of March, which is the Women's History Month, my office has been highlighting some amazing women who are making a difference in our community. And so we thought, what better way to wrap up Women's History Month this week than having this roundtable discussion with women entrepreneurs like yourself. So here we are. And each of you have been chosen through the very Chamber of Commerce that you belong to. And you are also recommended by the National Federation of Independent Businesses. And I must say that on my days of serving in the California State Assembly, I work very closely with NFIB, and I've been very proud to earn the distinction by NFIB to be the best vote for small businesses. And it's a title that I carry very, very proudly. And as a small business owner, and I, again, having to juggle between being a mom of raising 4 children and, working full time, I have to tell you, I understand what we all have to go through as women, business owner, entrepreneurs, and doing all of these multitasks. So I'm very thrilled to speak to all of you today about the importance of women-owned small businesses. And your business success is fundamental to the resilience of the Main Street and our country's economy. And so this is going to be an opportunity for us to listen and discuss how Congress could improve Small Business Administration's programs and ensure that those programs are working properly. You may or may not know that there are a whole variety of list of programs. And so hopefully this will be an opportunity to introduce some of the programs to you and then answer any questions you may have related to those. And this is also a chance for us to learn about your business. So I hope that we will have an opportunity after I give my brief remarks and give you an update on what I'm doing in Congress to understand your business and how my office can be a resource to you all moving forward. Personally, as I said, I'm a mother of 4, so I know how hard it is to balance that household responsibilities with being an entrepreneur, managing a business, because I've been there, done that myself. And now I'm so thankful that my children are all grown up. 3 of the 4 are already married and they have their own career and they're succeeding in their own business too. So I'm very, very proud. As you know, there are many resources at your disposal to help you sustain and expand your enterprise. But also surprisingly, I found that many business owners are unfamiliar with all the tools and resources that are available to them, as I mentioned. So, and then on top of that, this COVID-19 pandemic has unfortunately disproportionately hit women-owned businesses hard. And in the last year's, 2020 report, this was issued by the nation's Women Business Council. And as of 2019, women-owned businesses represent an estimated 42% of all U.S. businesses, and that makes up about 13 million businesses. And they employ 9.4 million workers. And collectively, they generate $1.9 trillion in revenue. So get this, California is the only state to have over 1.1 million women-owned businesses. But due to the lockdowns and, especially in the state like California, we have very inconsistent guidelines and that related to businesses closing. The number of business owners in the US plummeted by 3.3 million or 22% from February to April 2020. That's just last year. Unfortunately, women-owned businesses experienced a bigger drop of 25%. And in our state of California, about 20,000 small businesses have closed permanently due to the lockdowns caused by this pandemic. So as our economy looks to recover from COVID-19, it is imperative that COVID-19 relief appropriated by United States Congress is effective in supporting your businesses and helping you on a path to success. And so there are a lot of programs that COVID-19 relief packages have created or repurposed. For example, in the PPP, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, debt relief assistance for 7A, 504, and micro loans. And there is that targeted EIDL advanced loans, which was, again, signed into law in December of last year. That, by the way, was something that was jointly negotiated by the Problem Solvers Caucus, of which I'm very proud to be a member of. That was done in a bipartisan way to get that additional programs passed. And then there is that shuttered venue operators grant, which is set to open applications on Thursday, April 8th of next week. And then there is that restaurant revitalization fund grant. It's not set up yet, but it's on the works right now. So in addition to those COVID-19 relief related programs, SBA has a multitude of loan programs designed to support expansion and long-term investments. And again, in the areas that we just mentioned, 7A loans, express loans, community advantage loans, 504 loans, and micro loans. So we will follow up with more information on any of these programs if you have a question. And that's why Alex and Lynette are on the call to help us answer some of those questions too. But also within the Small Business Administration, you might be interested to learn that the Office of Women's Business Owners helps women entrepreneurs through programs that is coordinated by SBA district offices, including business training, counseling on how to expand your business, information on how to obtain federal grants, and access to credit and capital. The good news you probably heard is that last week, the Senate advanced the Paycheck Protection Program Extension Act. This is a bill I co-led with my colleagues on the House Small Business Committee, working very closely with both Democrat and Republican ranking and chairman of the committee. This will give small businesses additional time to submit applications for a PPP program loan, and it will extend the deadline from March 31 that was set to expire just 2 days from now, May 31, and it will also give SBA extra 30 days to process those new loans by June 30th. You know, when I was working on that legislation, and by the time it was being voted on in the House, there were $120 billion in funds that were still left available, unspent. So this deadline extension will give small businesses more time to complete their application and more time to assess the recent PPP changes issued by the Biden administration. Mm-hmm. So I was told this morning that the bill is on President Biden's desk and it is set to sign tomorrow. So I'm very proud that this will be my very first legislation that will be signed into law in less than 2.5 months I've been in the office. So I'm very proud to be able to work on behalf of our district and constituents who need this type of targeted immediate relief. So we're happy we got it done in a bipartisan way. And more importantly, and I'm happy to see that this will continue to provide the support that our small businesses need as more states begin to ease lockdown restrictions. So I'm going to stop here for now because I cannot wait to hear your stories and find ways to make the SBA programs designed to help you and your businesses attain success more efficiently. So what I like to do is go around the room and start with maybe Deanna. Oh, I mean, you're the first one on my screen. So if you want to go and introduce yourself, your business, and anything that you want me to know so I can work on your behalf.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much for this forum. I always get excited whenever I'm able to be around other women business owners. Guy business owners are okay too, but I always get excited when I'm around other boss babes, as I call them. My husband and I owned, I always have to say that because I don't want him to feel left out, but we're the owners of Infusion Zone Laser Tag Family Fun Center. We're located in Chino Hill. And we opened October of 2019. We had great support from the community. And then we closed on March 16th, 2020. We were closed for a year, just about a year, about a week shy of a year. We just reopened. During that time, I was able to get the EIDL loan. I did get PPP, and I was fortunate to also get a second round PPP, which really helps because we just reopened. The thing that I would say that really upsets me and keeps me up is that all the different loans and grants that were available, I was very appreciative of it. My rent expense, our fixed expense remained. So now I have a past due rent of over $150,000, and I have no idea how I'm going to pay that. So whenever I get an opportunity, I always say, if there's anything that can be done for the landlords, I do believe the landlords would then trickle it down to the renters, because that does give me a lot of worry, trying to figure out how I'm going to pay that. We are reopened, but of course we're reopened with a fourth of our customers, so our revenue is not the same. So that's all I'll just say, because I could talk for a while.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. We're taking notes here. Let's have Nikki go and talk about your business.
I think you're on mute, Nikki.
I was going to say, which Nikki? Do you want to?
Oh,
We have two.
I'm sorry. Nikki.
I can start with Nikki's.
Yeah, just with Nikki, okay, because the next one is Nikki Kardar.
Okay, I am Nikki Ware, and I own Nikki's Kitchen in Yorba Linda. I also own with my husband. Okay, yes, I will. And then I also own TSW Builders, a construction company in Brea, with my husband. And kind of like Deanna, I opened a little bit earlier, but I opened Nikki's Kitchen at the end of 2018. So we had, thankfully, all of 2019, and it was exciting to see where this was going to go, and we were kind of getting a feel for it. And then to go into 2020 thinking like, okay, now we see where we need to make changes, and then to kind of have that abrupt stop in March was crazy. I made the decision to not close, so we never shut down. Thankfully, restaurants had that ability. A lot of other businesses didn't. Our construction company, we did have to close for a couple months, but thankfully my husband was still able to work a little bit on commercial. But my fear was kind of the same thing with money. And we got the PPP, and we did get this. We just got the second PPP, but I was so afraid if we closed down, because we kind of thought about it in that April, May time, that we just wouldn't open back up, because it was just kind of a daunting task there. So we adapted and adapted and adapted, and the PPP definitely helped with construction. Oh, sorry, my internet might be off a little. We were happy to have that with the payroll, because that was huge. And then last October or November, when they went back to just outdoor dining, we chose to not shut down. And thankfully we live in a city that kind of didn't bother us, and we played by the rules, everything else. But we've seen an increase in business now, and I think it's because of everybody getting the vaccine. I think we have a large older community that comes to our restaurant, and so I think that that is now helping. So I mean, we're very thankful. Like, it's been a struggle, and the rent. I mean, thankfully the PPP helped with the rent, but that's partly why we stayed open, because I was so afraid if we get behind our that big payment that we were going to have to pay. She just kind of tacked on months to our lease. So that was doable, but I know we're in a small family-owned center, so it's a lot different than the corporate centers. So we just now, we're constantly, like every business, constantly pivoting and trying to figure out what's the next move and what do I need to do to keep people coming in, and it's just, we try to get everything we can, and the city thankfully has helped out, but I feel very fortunate because I know a lot of other businesses it's been definitely harder hit. And so we try to support local. I have a handful of women-owned businesses that we actually brought into our restaurant because they were catering companies that couldn't cater events anymore, obviously. So they started bringing in pre-done meals, and we sell those weekly. It's just a way to help them in their businesses. So that's kind of my story.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So just the two stories that I heard before I go on to Nikki Kardar. I'm glad to hear, first of all, that PPP loans have helped to sustain your operation and that you were able to get the second round of PPPs. But in the situation with Deanna, this was one of the issues that we brought up during the markup hearings during the Small Business Committee when we were addressing the $1.9 trillion reconciliation bill, how we can provide a delay in the small businesses having to pay either the loans or any back, rents like this, giving them at least 2 more years while the businesses are opening up, as you try to recoup and try to get back on the regular, because you just got back and opened, but only with like 1/4 of the customers. So it's not to the level that it was before the COVID. So we understand that you're going to need some time as you recover and fully open your business to be able to get to the level where you can pay rents, because obviously everybody's paying this, either the landlord, the tenant, both in the same situation. So we'll continue to fight for ways that we can try to give the additional time for you to get back and pay back what you have to do. And then Nikki, thank you so much for sharing your story. It seems like you live in a community that is very, very supportive, and they take the initiative to go around and visit all of the restaurants and be, I guess, proactive. So we're thankful that you were able to do this, and you have the other businesses like with your husband doing the construction business, but not everybody is, fortunate to be able to sustain the operation despite the difficulties that you've gone through. But nevertheless, we hear your story, and just so thankful that you are still continuing and that you didn't have to close down. So thank you for sharing that. And let's go to Nikki now and hear your story.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Congresswoman Young Kim, because we really appreciate your help in all these matters and listen to us. Just a little bit about myself. I am a businesswoman, I think since 1990. I own beauty salons, and I'm glad I'm not in that business anymore. So I started another career in 2003. Beside the business, I give back to the community. I'm a president of Council of Pakistan American Affairs. I am a member of Habitat for Humanity, Seroptimist Group, and I worked very closely with Mr. Royce for years. So it's, so we had a very good relationship, and he helped us out in all, the aspect. But currently what we are facing is because insurance was one thing which was essential. And we had to work remote because we couldn't come to during the shutdown, we had to work remote. First of all, we had to provide all the employees to the computers, and we have to set it up. So like April and May was like dead. I mean, we couldn't do anything. But finally, eventually, we got there and we set all the remote, whatever they needed. During that time, I was able to get the first PPP, around. That helped us a lot because I hired two very high paid employees on February. One started like on March 14th, and then they shut down, and the other was end of February. So that PPP helped a lot for me to retain those both employees. Then it was a roller coaster, like with the we close and we open, we close and we open, and the business effect is in that way because the commercial, our agency is very geared toward one department towards commercial side, like buildings and business insurance and workers' comp. So for the whole year, I mean, none of the business owner insurance was something on their mind. They just didn't want to talk about it. They just didn't want to switch, or like it was a very challenging year for us. As far as now, we are moving forward. I'm planning to apply. I'm glad it's extended the date. I'm going to apply. I'm planning to apply the second round of PPP. For the rent, we got some loans directly from farmers at that point, and then we were able to pay that. It's on a minimum interest rate. So, but now moving forward, we just have to be established back into the office and hiring more people. And because of all the last year effect, it's hard to we don't have enough fund to move forward and grow our business as we wanted to. So that's about myself.
Thank you very much. And good to know that you work closely with Congressman Ed Royce, and I look forward to continuing that relationship you've had with him. And I look forward to seeing how I can be of help to you moving forward. But I know we have Charlene and Lisa and let's see, Quinn. But I know, let's have Jane go next, because I know, Jane, you're also in the insurance industry, and I believe you're also with Farmers Insurance, correct? So why don't we just, no?
I'm independent.
Oh, okay, sorry. But in the similar related industry. So I'm going to have you go first.
Yes, you were right. I used to work with Ed Royce for a long time, and actually I'm in his advisory council for the Asian American, and he is also in my Rotary group. So that's how I know him. And also, like Nikki, we are, I don't want to repeat what she said, that we are actually also essential business. That's why we can still open. So the whole year, I think I've been working from home, even though our office is still there and we still pay rent. So we have office that we cannot use because we all working from home. During that time when I have the office, also do a lot of community service. I'm still active with my Rotary, giving away food and bread and PPP to the community, and my Soroptimis. Also, I'm in the same with Soroptimis with like Nikki, right? But I'm with Soroptimis Puente Hill. So I think is the need is still there. It doesn't matter like people lock down, but people always need essential business. People still need food. People still need just go on with their life. So I was able to still working from home and also working out in the community. So that was a blessing for me. And also spend time with my kids. I have two young kids, 19 and 16. So that's a good thing. I think it's a time for me to be able to also take a break at the lunchtime, cooking for them, and go back to work, which is I will never do it if that's normal working hour. So as far as the work, we are actually see a little bit down on the income just because of the expense is the same, but then the business is not much, you know what I mean? Like Nikki say, I just keep whatever I have, you know what I mean? And but we don't get too many new one. Some of them even try to sell their car and then they lower their coverage because they want to make sure they can keep up or lower their mileage. Hey, I'm lowering my mileage. I don't use my car. Can you give me discount? See, so that's also affecting a little bit of the income. And I actually I don't know why I was not I was approved with the what's that the name with the PPP, the first one, but not the second one. I did not know why. So that's something I just and they told me you cannot apply anymore. So if you're not approved, that's it basically. I don't know. And they say there's nothing you can do. They said that I missed some kind of paperwork or something that I did not submit. But then there's no need to submit anything because it won't change anything. So I did not know. I haven't had a chance to contact anyone because next month we'll be going back 100% in the office. You know what I mean? So I've been busy with that thing also. But yeah, I would like to know how we can also still support the employee because we did not lay off anyone during the because I know everyone needs a job, you know what I mean? I don't want to lay off anyone because, you know what I mean? I put myself in their position, you know what I mean? On the time of need and then you let them go. So I try my best and take my saving to still keep everyone in my payroll. Yeah, but it's challenging for most people, but yeah, it's a lot of things to look forward. So I'm very positive about next month. So yeah, I'm just happy that this is a chance for us to share and maybe we find solution together. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your stories, Nikki and Jane. With respect to Jane's comments about inability to get the second PPP loan, after the call, I'll have Lynette follow up with you and get some information and see if we might be able to make an inquiry on your behalf.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
sorry, I forgot to introduce my business. I was so excited talking about my non-profit and my family. But I've been in the insurance industry as independent agent for 24 years. This is my 24 year in the business.
Thank you. Great. So Alex just put in our chat, a borrower is generally, let's see. Oh, I need glass here, right here. Let's see. So borrower is generally eligible for a second draw PPP loan if the borrower previously received the first draw PPP loan and will or has used the full amount only for authorized uses and has no more than 300 employees and can demonstrate at least 25% reduction in gross receipts between comparable quarters in 2019 and 2020. Okay, so thank you, Alex, for chiming in. What we will do is, again, as I mentioned, we'll follow up, Jane, and see if we can be of help to you.
Thank you.
Let's go to, let's see, I know Deanna, you spoke, Nikki, you spoke, both Nikki's spoke and Jane spoke. So Charlene, you're next on my screen.
Morning, thank you again for the invite. We are a small family-owned plumbing company in Fullerton, and I kind of mimic a lot of what everyone said, a little bit of each story, but we did get the first round of PPP, which was huge. Even though we are essential, a plumbing company, plumbing doesn't stop breaking. Or we were fortunate, but at the same time, we had a lot of customers that were fearful, so it cut back our the non-essential repairs and stuff like that. So we did get a huge cut, but the PPP was a huge benefit at the same time. Kind of a strange thing for us was we had gotten the 10,000 EIDL grant that was given to us as well. But back in August, we were told that if we didn't pay back the grant, that our application for forgiveness would be delayed until that was paid back. So I didn't understand what the point of a grant was if we had to pay it back. So anyhow, we had that, and thankfully we did have the PPP forgiven. And so that was a blessing, but we too were denied the second round. We met all the qualifications, we turned in everything, but again, us two were not sure why we were denied the second round. And so anyhow, that's what we were doing. We were very fortunate that none of our business was affected by illness with COVID. Our employees all stayed healthy and everybody was, you know, it didn't affect our employment as far as with the guys. But one thing that my husband did to help our community was he had posted in Nextdoor to if there was any families that were affected, or just whether it's financially or, you know, if they had any plumbing needs, but they weren't able to afford it, he was willing to do the work for free, come out and, you know, evaluate. And he's dedicated several Wednesdays to doing all free, you know, plumbing for families. And there are some people that have taken advantage, but for the most part, people have been reasonable, and some were willing to pay, some, you know, just couldn't pay. So just how he wanted to kind of pay back, you know, if you will. So it's been a huge blessing to not just reach our community, our local community, because we want to be involved and give back as much as we can. But other than that, we've been very fortunate, very blessed to stay open and to receive, you know, the loan and so forth. So it would have been nice to get that second round to continue growing our business and, you know, so forth. But that's where we're at right now.
So Lynette, there is our second casework we're going to follow up, okay? So make sure we follow up with both Jane and Shalene, or anyone else that might need further, you know, follow up from us. So thank you so much. And let's see, there is a note from Lisa. Shalene, please share your company name. Yes, Lisa. Lisa, thanks for that question. What is your company name? I think you said it is Clemens Services in Fullerton.
Yeah, that's our corporation, but our DBA is Mitch Clemens Plumbing.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, Mitch Clemens Plumbing in Fullerton.
Mitch Clemens Plumbing. Okay.
Been in the local area for 19 years.
Yes, great. So we're going to help each other because I live in a home that is built in 1979. So you can see I need plumbing services, and this is how we help each other, right? Getting the referrals.
Yeah, we actually have a customer named Young Kim in Fullerton, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's
my God, I might have been, because I lived in Fullerton some years ago too.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in La Habra right now. I might have called you. You never know. All right. It's good to know. So with that, Lisa, let's go to you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Young Kim, for having this. This is such a great opportunity. I love seeing so many other women-owned businesses and how we could all possibly collaborate and support each other. I'm actually an essential healthcare support business, so we never closed. We actually sanitize the privacy curtains that are in hospitals and launder specialty items, along with commercial window coverings and manufacturing of privacy curtains as well. My father actually started the business in 1963. I was kind of growing up in the same building long before there was camps and childcare and things like that. And so I've kind of grown up in the business. I actually went to college to study and did my graduate work in something totally unrelated. Never kind of anticipated coming back to the business, had actually worked in social services as well. So we actually never applied for PPP. I am part of the Fullerton community as well. I sit on the board of the Fullerton Education Foundation and some of other local community groups as well. And I have a lot of friends that are small business owners in Fullerton that have been impacted. Some have lost their businesses. Have a lot of friends that are actually in hospitality as well. And it's been really hard to watch. I initially had considered applying for PPP. I felt in the beginning the goalposts kept moving a little bit. I thought that it was kind of definitely a work in progress, and I had really hoped that we would be able to kind of fare well enough and make it through one of the things that I felt particularly challenging during this time was actually kind of the HR issues that came along with the new world of COVID, especially us being in a healthcare related field. I had sought out some support from SBA, also sat in on some of the town hall meetings with Ling Ling Chang's office, reached out to her office and to get some support there as well. And then got a lot of support from my local SBDC. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a Bible study at Eastside. I was co-leading the Business Owners Network Bible study. And so one of my Bible study group members actually worked for the SBDC out of Cal State Fullerton, and they were very helpful. So if you guys ever need any support, I feel that I would really like to see more of the grant programs continuing. One of the ways that we've been impacted is, even though we've been continually working, we've been impacted by unit closures. So technically, we have had definitely a decline in access and things like that. We're very grateful that for all of us that things are, case counts are loosening, declining, vaccinations are up, and also that there are, kind of the loosening of the openings. I think that I'm very grateful that we actually have our business in Orange County, not in LA County. But still, I think that we've just suffered quite a bit in this area. And so I've been very happy. I've been very active going to city council meetings and kind of watching and I guess just searching out as much information as I could get. Mm-hmm. I'm hopeful that this is going to continue. If I need to apply for anything in regards to, I'd like to see additional grant programs come up. Being also a government contractor, we were required to not have any disruption in our service delivery as well. So that has been helpful. I don't know if anyone has any questions for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good to know. I know the other speakers before you did not actually go into too much about their previous experience, working with SBA or any of the SBA programs. And once we hear from the last business person, Dr. Tran, I would like to pose the question for you to think about. Prior to COVID-19, if you had any type of experience engaging with SBA and what type of help programs that you were able to find that was helpful to you. And, so let's think about that as we listen to our last guest speaker here, Dr. Tran. I believe you're an optometrist.
Okay, there. Sorry, I was on mute. Hi. It's nice to meet everyone. I do recognize some faces here. So first of all, just thank you for the opportunity. And I always feel like energized and just, I love being around other women, entrepreneurs, women, business leaders and so forth. I feel a lot of journey that we could all relate to. But as regard to our business, I'm an optometrist. I've been practicing for about 18 years now. And I took over a optometry 2 locations, optometry business in the Chino, in the Empire Valley area. And it's, we call, the name is Inland Family Optometry. And both practices has been around for almost 40 years. I took over about, I've been here for almost 17 years, and I took over 3.5 years ago. And so I'm kind of a rookie, business leader. I've always been, I went to school for many years and to be trained to be a doctor, not a business leader or a business person, period. They never really teach us business in school. So a lot of the first couple of years is just learning things. And I feel like I finally got a flow of things early 2020 in January, and the business started doing well and kind of thriving. And then of course, March hit. So, and then the pandemic we closed for 3 months. And that was really tough. The reason why I wanted to really be here today, because I really want to put a lot of gratitude towards the PPP loans and the grants out there. Because honestly, I don't know if we'll be here today if it weren't for those opportunities. We're a very high volume office with lots of patient care, lots of, but also a lot of expenditure. 2 locations, rent is high, both locations. One's is high average, but just having 2 locations, I'm paying double rent. I have 9 employees. 4 of them are associate doctors, so higher high wage and so forth. So close, I try to keep all my employees on the payroll as long as possible. I want to make sure everyone's taking care of their family or taking care of, plus with the benefits. But at a point where I was not able to do that anymore, so we closed completely. And then I think we didn't get the PPP until, I would say, probably May. So I think around April or so, I was in that place where I kind of felt I had to put everything on a credit card. I had just all of our bills and everything. I just put in credit card as much as I could. And then the rent, I tried to delay it, as much as I could. And our landlords, they were nice, but it was hard for them to work around that too. So when we got a PPO, it was a huge lifeline, lifesaver, and then I was able to bring all my staff back, all my associate doctors back, and so forth. And but even with that, we couldn't, operate the way we used to, because we're a people-oriented health professional business. So, we couldn't see many patients, back to back, and so we had to spread everyone out. We had to schedule schedule our patients just spread out, and because of that, our volumes was much lower. Also, we had to invest a lot of money into PPE, with air humidifiers and screens and a lot of masks and a lot of different things. So that was a huge that was a lot of I guess money for our business too. So with all of that said, I'm just grateful just to have the PPE. It was a huge blessing. And then we were able to get the second round earlier this year too. And so I'm able to be here, and I love what I do. I love seeing patients. I'm glad that we're able to still not just survive, but thrive through this past year because of the PPP and other grants out there that was available for us. So.
Wow. Listening to all of you, it seems like your experience applying for a PPP loan, at least the majority of you have been pretty pleasant, because, you were able to get all the first round of PPP loans. In the case of a couple of you, we will help to follow up. Charlene and Jane, I believe you're the ones that didn't get the second PPP loans. But as I mentioned, if you can now share your experience about, what kind of experience you've had with SBA, or are you somewhat familiar or very familiar with different type of programs that are offered and available through SBA? And also, last question, maybe you can just lump it up all together, is that as we slowly open all of our economies, what is your biggest worry? Is it access to capital, workforce requirement? You didn't talk about whether or not you had to lay off anybody. Most of you were able to keep them. And because, this is, as you mentioned, you are thinking of others. Like Jane, you didn't lay off anybody because you are thinking, putting yourself in their shoes. If you're having a difficult time, they're also having a difficult time. So it's really heartwarming to know that you are really looking out for your employees as well. And in the case of Charlene, I want to thank you and your husband for volunteering to provide free services, because we all are going through difficult times. And that's one thing I recognized during this pandemic. We all come together. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes our community great. And we just have this just sharing and giving and loving one another. So it's very heartwarming to hear. But with that, any of you want to jump in and share your responses to the questions that I just posed?
If I could start, only because unfortunately, I have to open shop at 12 o'clock. So
okay.
I'll just go ahead and jump in and say that I'm I'm familiar with programs from the SBA, SBDC. I was a business major in college, undergrad and graduate degree in business. And when I launched out as a business owner, I worked with the Inland Empire Women's Business Center to help put together my business plan, get me connected to CDC so I can get business loans. So I'm quite familiar. And if there were to say there was a blessing in 2020, I used that time to go back to the Women's Business Center, and I'm a business counselor with the Women's Business Center, helping women start their businesses and directing them to different resources that are available to them. So I am familiar. The next question, you said, what was the biggest worry? My biggest worry, like I said, is like Dr. Tran, mounting debt, because we too had to start putting things on credit card. So it's there, and you try not to think about it, but it still weighs on you because that's an additional debt. And one of the things that I look forward to, it does feel like during this time we did come together. We have a very active Chamber of Commerce. Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce was a lifeline to many of us. I'm very active in the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. If I could just give a little plug, I've met business owners that started their business in 2020. They were in construction. Then the world shut down and they didn't get a chance to open their doors. And because they did not open their doors, they didn't have any revenue in 2020. They're not qualified for any of these opportunities, not EIDL, not PPP, none of the grants, but yet they have the same expenses that we have, and they haven't been able to open. So I just wanted to put that out there. If there's anything that can be done on the legislative front for those businesses, because they are suffering as well. That's all.
Very good point. Very good point. And we're taking note on that. Thank you for sharing. And go open your business. Just 5 minutes from now. Anyone else jump in?
Yes, I would like to say that, to be very honest, thank you, Deanna, for telling me about Women Business Center. I actually am not aware of any place where I can get as a business owner, women business owner, any loans or guidance. I applied like in 2017, and I was for SBA loan, and I didn't get approved. I don't know why, but the sources, and by having these kind of meetings, it helps us to open resources and see what is out there. And I would like to know more about it.
Great. We will share that information, Nikki, the Women's Business Center and other information and SBA programs that may be helpful to you, at least to 6 of you that joined us today. We want to make those available. And also don't hesitate to let us know if we can be of help to you, especially following up on your second PPP loans that you applied. Lynette, Alex has put their email in the chat box, but I will repeat their first name, last name. So lynette.choi@mail.house.gov, alex.cisneros@mail.house.gov. And you can contact us anytime with any questions. Let's see. So what are your biggest worry as we open businesses again?
I mean, my biggest worry is that moving forward, how it is going to impact our business as business, or the commercial side of it. People are not coming to the offices anymore. They are, of course, worried. We can't, go and see them. We have been trying to do Zoom meetings. This is the first week I made a couple of appointments. So my scare is like, okay, when are people are going to be comfortable to, to meet each other? So at least we can talk to each other. And help them out, even on just regular basis. Like I am a member of Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce too, and we do Zoom meetings, and it's good, but like, getting to know other people and do more networking, so generate more business, for our businesses. And it's kind of worrisome that we survived 1 year. So how long it's going to take, this year? So.
Yeah, we definitely need to get back to meeting each other. And I visited your Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce several times. And I look forward to coming back and giving you a hug in person. And I would love to do with all of
those
you.
hugs and,
So Nikki, I need to go to Nikki's kitchen to have a delicious meal. I need Charlene to help me fix my plumbing, and and Lisa. I mean, Lisa. Let's see what business you are in. Healthcare areas. And then you can see Dr. Tran. I'm going back and forth with my glasses. Oh my
We'll
goodness.
take care of you.
So yeah, let me hear from the rest of you if you want to have any final thoughts and share any concerns that you may have before we close.
Well, I could share. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I can share real quick too. Sorry. So one of the struggles we also had was that staffing for me, because when we reopened again, even though I had everyone come back, a couple of staff couldn't come back because of health risks. The doctor didn't want to come back. They have underlying issues. And then another one had medical issues. So it was hard to find staff. And then everyone else has been on unemployment. So it's hard to have to get them back. So staffing was a big issue. So I don't know, I even right now to this day, I'm constantly interviewing and trying to find staff and trying to find help and so forth. I don't know if anybody else here has experienced that, part of HR issues, but so I don't know, just finding, new employees or just finding staff has been a challenge. So not only when we open and we're able to financially support, ourselves because of PPP and so forth each month, but just finding the right people to work again and getting staff back. And there's I guess a fear of a lot of people not able to get back because they'd have to be home with their kids, or they have health issues, or they're just afraid of the virus and so forth. And so that's been an issue. And then being a health profession, we are essential, but at the same time we have a lot of patients that are afraid to come back, that just want to wait a little bit. So that's affected us. We have patients who we've known for 30 plus years and so forth. And just, I miss seeing some patients, and it's nice to see them again. So, but I am looking forward to, the future, and hopefully everyone's able to come back and we're able to not have issues finding staff again. So.
Sure. And I know, Jane, you were you have your hands up and you were nodding as Dr. Tran was talking.
Yes, and I was thinking about, I want to piggyback on the Queenie, what Dr. Tran mentioned about the finding the employee. I did not know whether this is, but I think I need to say it because I know a lot of people out there taking so much advantage of the unemployment. When they make more money, when they're not working, then they working, I will not want to work. If I work for someone, I would rather be home with my kid, do whatever I want and get more money. That's not helping. Yeah. So I don't think I think it's good to help them to make at least the same what they make. If they only make 1,000, you cannot make 3,000 right now. I know some people who make $3,000 when they used to make $1,000. That doesn't make sense, And who paying for it? Yeah, and then of
That's
course,
been a huge issue.
Right.
That's been a huge issue
for us. Work, right? You get more money if you not.
I completely agree. We cannot disincentivize people, from coming back to work, because there is that sense of dignity when you work, and the idea of working hard and getting the compensation according to the hard work that you put in. So we cannot encourage people to stay on an employment line because they're getting more. So Jane, I completely share with you your frustration. And Lisa, you
That was a huge issue for us with searching out. That's one of the reasons why I needed the advice for HR. I've had 3 employees that have been out saying that they were affected by COVID, which, I mean, it's all very speculative. I mean, you know, none of them have had COVID. We've had 0 cases. My employees actually are in a variety of some of the largest hospitals in 4 different counties. We've had 0 cases. I've had 3 employees that have been out, one of them my crew lead. And each time we get it, we say we're an essential healthcare support business. We have not closed. Their job has not been affected by COVID. I've had to hire other employees. And even when we deny it, they're still being paid, although they have abandoned their positions. None of them have had COVID. We haven't had any cases. And so I had reached out to Ling Ling Chang's office for help. And that's where through SBDC, they had partnered with an HR consulting firm that had given me some advisement, but it was very difficult. We're in uncharted territory. And so navigating through those HR issues, especially for a small business, it's been very difficult.
Yeah. Well, your feedback and input that I got from all of you has been very helpful, and we have taken notes. We will definitely share with the committee members, and especially with our ranking and chair of the Small Business Committee. And hopefully this input would help us in making informed policy decisions. We will definitely prioritize ensuring that COVID-19 is effective for all Americans, and the various programs that Small Business Administration have, I will make sure that it is available to many of you, and through your connections and the chambers that you belong to, we will definitely do our part to be more proactive to make those available. I will go ahead and I'm sure, see right here, Nikki, you got some information that you thought was helpful from Lisa, you know, about these Women's Business Center and so forth. So this kind of conversation is not only helpful to me, but I hope it was helpful to you. And again, I couldn't have had this conversation with our successful woman and hardworking woman, multitasking so many things in our community, and close off our wonderful, Women's History Month. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful, very informative, and I hope you found some information helpful to you as well. Thank you very much.